September 3, 2007, listeners, is when Bruce Golding and the GLP eked out a win by a wafer-thin majority over Simpson Miller's PNP. So after winning on September 3, 2007, by late October, the PNP were at the GLP's throat about this issue of crime. Remember now, the line now is that the government deserves no credit for murder and major crimes trending down. It is all the work of the police, zero credit for the government. And that's the line that was first espoused by Peter Bunting, the Minister of National Security, on Nationwide's morning program this morning. And that was last year, and it has crystallized into a solid campaign point for the PNP now. Okay. By October 22, 2008, the PNP, October 21, 2008 to be precise, they called a press conference to deal with the spiraling crime rate. And I'm reading a story from The Gleaner, posted a day after. It says, again, this article I'm reading now from The Gleaner, October 22, 2008. It says, meanwhile, the opposition People's National Party has blasted the ruling Jamaica Labour Party for its inability to adequately put measures in place to deal with the spiraling crime rate. The PNP says the Bruce Golding-led administration has within the last 13 months shown no indication it can deal with the crime situation facing the country. At a press conference the day before, October 21, 2008, the PNP said it was startled by the latest statistics from the police force, which showed that between January and August 2008, murders increased by 15% when compared to the corresponding period in 2007. The PNP says it is even more frightening that major crimes have increased by close to 31% for the same period. The opposition spokesman on national security, Peter Bunting, says the government should now begin to put more emphasis on proper management of the security forces if crime and violence is to be controlled. Meanwhile, Bunting says he had a meeting with the National Security Minister in an effort to come up with collaborative measures to make the security forces more effective. He says he'll be meeting with senior officers within the security forces later this week to get a briefing on the operations of the organizations. So crime was so bad, the PNP called a press conference to criticize the government, justifiably, for not having a handle on the situation. And it said then, the opposition, that it was startled by the 15% increase in murder, and the 31% increase in major crimes was even more frightening. And Bunting said that the government should know, he suggested, this government needs to now put more emphasis on proper management of the security forces if crime and violence is to be controlled, and that he, Bunting, would be meeting with the National Security Minister in an effort to come up with collaborative measures to make up the security forces, or to make the security forces more effective, and that he would be meeting with senior officers within the security forces to get a briefing on the operations of the organizations. So from that point till now, what has caused the PNP to believe that government action has no bearing on the kind of reductions we're seeing now in crime and major crime and murder? What? You suggested then, Senator Bunting, that the Bruce Golding administration should put more emphasis on proper management because that you believed was severely lacking. And this lack of proper management, it didn't exist. Management didn't exist in a satisfactory way from your perspective, was causing the crime and the violence to just get out of control. And you wanted to meet with the National Security Minister. Remember, you're opposition, but you felt that a contribution from the legislative side, from the policy side, was so important. Or in the way some of the people in the political platform say it's so important. You know what? Let me not go down that road. Yeah. important. The policy touch, the legislative touch, the government's touch, so important that he said you would be speaking to the National Security Minister, giving him ideas as to how collaborative measures could be developed to make the security forces more effective. That's the same gentleman now who comes and says, this government, zero credit for the decline in murders. And I say again, and I know it will rankle with the opposition, this line of attack is nonsensical. It is the product of a mind that is warped out of reason. You could not, with a record of being in government and touting the things that you did to bring crime down and to control the murder situation, and then turn around and say a government in office deserves no credit for crime going down. And to show you how that rings hollow, listen to this from, the date is December 5, 2013, posted by the JIS. Leaders and experts in crime fighting and prevention, along with a host of other stakeholders, including members of the diplomatic corps, came together on Thursday, December 5, to launch the National Security Ministry's three-pronged crime prevention strategy. By now, you sharp listeners out there know what the name of that three-pronged crime prevention strategy was. It's Mr. Bunting's favorite hobby horse, Unite for Change. The article continues, Unite for Change, well, United for Change they call it. Bunting and company dropped the D, sounded better. Unite for Change and United for Change. Unite for Change seeks to rekindle hope in the society and mobilize law-abiding citizens to work together as a united front against crime. Addressing a full room at the Police Officers Club on Hope Road in Kingston, National Security Minister Peter Bunting pinpointed trends in crime and violence over the years and outlined the major steps that the government has taken to cauterize the problem. The initiative, Unite for Change, Bunting said, is founded on the strategies of interrupting crime, particularly gang activities, preventing the spread of these activities, and changing group behavior. So here you see Bunting bringing key stakeholders together behind Unite for Change, because he sees how important him in his chair as National Security Minister, leading the government's charge in the area of crime prevention and safety, and the importance of that to the actual actors in the field, the men and women of the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Jamaica Defence Force, and how government's touch, not even touch, government's approach is crucial to the work done at that level. And then this is the same gentleman who tells you the government of this day deserves no credit. Because here's the thing too. He said, well, Unite for Change was a plan that did great things. And I must tell you, I liked Unite for Change myself. It's one of the programs I felt should have been continued in the immediate aftermath after the change in administration. I felt there were aspects of it. We were seeing aspects of it in other guises. But it was worthy of continuation. But that's old hat, that's history. This administration, rather than going Unite for Change or crime plan, as this opposition has called for repeatedly over time, where's the crime plan, where's the crime plan? As if the crime plans that they were using yielded such good results that you have to have a crime plan. If you don't have a crime plan, you're not fighting crime. The investment and the strategic nature of the investment, how the camera them come about, the cameras that are at every major intersection, the build out of Jamaica Eye, equipping the police force, mobility. Sometimes you're driving past police headquarters, you can't see any grass. Pure vehicles, motorcycles, pickup trucks, car for stone dog. I should drop that, because people now stoned out again. But you get the point. The billions that have been built out into the technological architecture that we can't see, we don't see, we should not see. That's government. What's the most expensive thing that the police commissioner can sign for procurement? He has a limit, So all of the big spending, it has to be made at the level of the ministry. And then the police get the benefit of that which has been procured, that which has been signed to be purchased. That is why again I say, whosoever came up with this line, and wherever you tested it, oh my goodness gracious me. It is one of the dumbest political lines I've heard in a very, very long time. And unworthy of some of the people in the brains trust of the PNP who ideate and come up with these things that they're going to walk on a campaign with. The line that says the government deserves no credit for the drop in major crime and murder, that's what we're going to ride. It is dumb. Dumb, dumb, dumb.